Hello, orchard archivers and retro travel buffs. Despite the modern, sometime inconvenience of travel, do you find yourself dreaming of that Marrakech evening or enchanting sounds of Casablanca? Our guest on Nostalgia Air will have you all set and ready to travel to Morocco like a native, where nostalgia will envelop you the moment you step into this exotic destination. I'm Kennedy Rizzo,
And I'm Cooper Lee.
and we're thrilled to have in studio Azdean Elmoustaquim joining us today. He is the founder of Destinations Morocco and the host of the namesake Destination Morocco podcast that breathes life into the excitement that awaits you there. Here's your expert. So, thank you, Asden, for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity. I'm very, very grateful and thrilled and super excited to be one of your guests for the podcast. Really appreciate it, Kennedy and Koopa.
Well,
Yeah, we really, really want to dive into your love of travel and any of the other interests that you do have. And even, the not so pretty side of travel, because obviously things have changed
Yeah.
from back in the day. But we'd really love to hear about what brought you to creating Destination Morocco and subsequently a podcast to follow.
Oh wow! Oh, that's a really good question. You know, me, I was born and raised in the imperial city of Marrakech. My family hails from a small village in the outskirts of the city called Ouarzazate, well known for making movies, international movies, and things like that. And one of the neighboring kasbahs to us that it's a famous Eight bin Haddou, which a lot of people can recognize because of the movies they have been made there. So my wife, we are actually neighbors back home, and we travel back and forth to Morocco. And with the birth of our son, it was really, really important for us for him to know his roots. He's an American, but he needs to know where he came from. So that was an amazing opportunity, and we created Destinations Morocco. So now he's 10 years old, and he's been back to Morocco 3 or 4 times. He speaks the language fluently, and him and I will go to the shows, and he's a better salesperson than I am. So I take advantage. And then, with the pandemic, I mean, as we all did have a lot of time in our hands, I started listening to podcasts and doing homework and research and how to improve our service and so forth. I came across Donald Miller, and I was listening to his podcast, Business Made Simple. Um, he was like, it's really important for a business to have a podcast. And to me, I understood it as, the way that you have a YouTube channel, Instagram account, you need to have a podcast for your business. So me and Ted, I met Ted in 2021. We did some homework research for a whole year, and we started in 2022. And the opportunity that gave us is just beyond incredible. The people that we were able to help and reach is just amazing. So 2022 to now, we are top 10 in the Buzzsprout hosting platform, and we I think people listen to us for, I would say, 154 different countries,
wow, I agree.
8,300 different cities. So a lot of the listeners, they find the podcast really helpful, even though the majority of them do not travel or book with us, but the content they really find valuable because it helps them, either recognize the scam before it unfolds, or stay in Riyadh or places to go and visit, whether it's Marrakech, Casablanca, Fas, Essaouira, and so forth. So, and then moving forward, the podcast kind of took off on its own, and it literally became its own business, which is really, really nice. So, but the main business is the tour company, and then the podcast will get quite a bit of leads and customers from it as well.
So that is amazing because, as you said, whether they visit Morocco or if they're just, wanting to get into the travel space in general, you're providing so much information that would easily help somebody navigate today because you've been doing it versus maybe somebody hasn't traveled in a really long time. And it's nice that
Absolutely.
you provide that for them.
Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Especially nowadays, when you go online and you search something, the information is there's overload. You don't know what's accurate, what's not, fake, what's
Yes.
real. So with the podcast, it's really good content, and sometimes we say things that they might people may not like them, the listeners, but at the end of the day, we have to convey the message, and we have to be truth to ourselves. The scams are everywhere, things happen everywhere, but
Yeah.
it's all about awareness. You rather travel somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is. You're equipped with the tools to navigate and see and explore the destination in the best possible way versus just being a victim and in some unknown destination or so that really helps.
Yeah, because the whole thing about travel is for enjoyment. It's an
Absolutely.
escape of sorts. And, whether it's to learn about where you're going or just to get away from your life for a few days, the last thing you want is something unexpected
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
So just being, as you said, very well equipped with some information can take something from being fun and prevent a tragedy from happening. Or,
Absolutely.
yeah, so very, very cool. We love hearing that.
Yeah, that
Thank
you
you.
provide that for people. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Now, like with us, our first trip, like we come from the Midwest, and we are smack in the middle of a cornfield. So it took about to the mid '90s. We hadn't realized that when we finally discovered airplane travel, it was like, oh my goodness, the world opened up to us. And we were just like, oh, that was the best high. End up going taking our first trip ever to Hawaii. We had some
Oh, wow.
friends out there that said, "Hey, come out, stay for a month and a half," which is the only way we were able to do that because they were kind enough to let us be family. But our mom, that was one of the reasons why we couldn't or didn't launch into travel earlier because she was actually terrified of flying.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of translated to us, like we kind
Yeah,
of absorbed her fear and
of course.
whatnot. So it scared her that we actually booked our tickets to go, and she booked tickets to go with us and chickened out at the last
Oh,
minute.
wow.
Even got all the way on the plane, her and our little brother, and she says, "Nope, we're not doing this. Well, let us know when you guys get there," which we did, thankfully. But once that opened up, like we were like, "Man, there's a lot to see
Yeah,
out there," and
absolutely. Yeah.
man, we want our front row seat tickets for that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And as far as places that you've also traveled, we know Morocco is near and dear to your heart. Is there
Thank
any
you.
place that you have gone that maybe you had a strange encounter or something very memorable outside of something in Morocco?
I wouldn't say strange encounter, but I've been to Antigua last October, and I had the most amazing experience. And I was like, why it took me so long to get here. And my God, the place where we stayed, the staff, the hospitality, the whole country, if you would. I mean, and I was there like a week before celebrating their Independence Day, and what a joyful time it was. It was just beyond incredible. Everybody's so happy. Everybody's super hospitable anywhere you go. And my God, the seafood is just, oh my goodness.
You like seafood?
Wow, it was incredible. Yeah, so that for me that was definitely a wowing experience. Then I went to Mexico. It's like 26 years ago. This is back then. We had an emergency, and I had to go with my wife at that time to to drop off her mom. She was in a wheelchair, and my passport was expired. So I was, I talked to them at the airport, and they were very nice, and they let me fly. I'm saying this. I'm definitely getting deported.
Oh no.
I'm joking.
That would cause a
So
little anxiety. I don't know.
so I went to Mexico without, with expired passport. That was the good days. And then when I got there, it honestly looked like back home. And when you go through like now it's TSA, they have the same thing. You go through it, and there's a guy, and there's like a push button, red and green, and there's a guy in front of me. As soon as he passed by it, he pushed red, and they
Oh.
made him stop and open all his luggage and stuff. And I looked at him, and I was like, okay. And he looked at me, and I was passing by, and before I went, through, I gave him $5, and he pushed the green button. I was like, oh, I love this. So
He's like, this could work for me.
I'm staying longer.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, I mean, it was an incredible experience. We went to a village in the outskirts of Guadalajara, Jalisco. It was really amazing. The kids, the families, super hospitable, and I remember coming back. The whole village was saying goodbye, and it really made me feel home. I mean, it was just amazing experience.
And you say that was about 26 years ago?
Yes,
So things have changed a little bit.
just a little.
It might not be $5 anymore. It might be a little
Oh,
bit
for
more.
sure.
Oh, wow. But it's just with the way things have changed in travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're in this space, so you
yeah,
probably see it change probably weekly, maybe, even daily,
yeah.
what's expected for people and everything. But we miss the simplicity.
Oh, yes.
It was just
Absolutely.
about going and enjoying yourself, and now it's stressful. It's
Yeah.
stressful to
Yes.
travel.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is.
ah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, real quick, my husband and I took our first cruise 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And one of the spots was Mexico, Cozumel.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, just going through TSA and trying to get your luggage condensed to where, they won't pull it aside like you described in that
Yeah. Yeah.
experience. And I literally had major anxiety just
Oh,
wanting to
wow.
get through that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I read it's like so much has changed. And, without the logistical things,
Yes.
we think about, and we've talked about this in the other episodes of our podcast, that the culture has changed where folks are angry, frustrated, and not very kind to one another. And that all factors into it. So again, you take something like, oh, I want to travel to a beautiful tropical
Yeah.
destination, and
Yeah.
go see family and friends too. It's like the survival of the fittest,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
and it's very sad.
with the fact that you do have the business of helping people arrive in Morocco, um, is there anything in particular that you've noticed that has changed subsequently from when you first started helping people to now they might have a concern about? I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Um,
It does. Yeah.
okay.
Um, because everything that is happening anywhere, it really, especially in the US, it does affect travel globally, even though we may not see it.
Yes.
And Morocco is no different because, our audience, 60% of our travelers are Jewish people. And Morocco has a super rich Jewish heritage, culture, and history. So when the conflict between Israel and Palestine broke a few years ago, that really affected us quite a bit.
Mm.
So and now, even now, it's still a concern. A lot of people, they still book with us, and they're afraid to say, "Hey, I'm Jewish," or But once they get to Morocco, they realize it's like they're within family. It's and it's just been incredible. Those numbers are coming back, which is really good. But then you look at the situation right now, and people are still afraid. And one of the biggest question, the number one question that I always get is Morocco safe for solo travelers, for female travelers, for women
Mm,
in general, because of the perception versus the reality, what they see in TV and movies versus what's actually happening in Morocco. And then
right.
the media really, really plays, I would say, most of the time on purpose negative role,
Yep.
and sometimes by accident a positive role. And the positive role that happened for Morocco was back in 2022 in the World Cup soccer tournament, because nobody expected them to do well, and they went all the way to the semifinals. So globally, everybody who never heard about Morocco, they wanted to visit Morocco. So that really, in terms of marketing, that was super brilliant. And then the negative part of the media is when they show us, they just show us like, covered up from head to toe. You can't even see the faces, and doing things that nobody really does. But people don't know unless they really go to the destination. They are really really surprised in the most positive way. So there's that cultural shock, if you would. So we've had so many people have that perception versus the reality. It's just completely different. Morocco is super safe. It is one of the safest. It is considered the safest country in Africa. It is
Okay, great.
as
Okay.
safe as most European countries. And Morocco, in terms of United States of North America, it's still really not known. It's still really not popular, if you would. But then other continents, and especially Europe, Europeans, they travel to Morocco all the time throughout the year. So they know Morocco better than most of us locals. So yeah. And then the second thing that I always get, the request is the travelers. This is a trend that we noticed in 2025, is travel with purpose. People, they want to immerse themselves with the locals. They want to have a local experience with the Mazigh family, a Berber family, with lunch or an experience, tea ceremony, or just hang out with the families and experience their daily lives. And then we've had travelers, they donate when they travel throughout Morocco. You'll see them making donations in, whether the Rif Mountains, the Atlas Mountains, in the desert, in Marrakech, and schools and places that have been affected by the earthquake back in 2023. So there's so many different ways that people travel to Morocco, but this is the rising trend for me that I've seen, is travel with purpose. So a lot of people, they go and they help the communities, and those travelers, Morocco is just one of their stops. I know, because I talk to them all the time. They do the same thing in Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. It's just, and again, it's just beyond incredible. So it's just really amazing. Yeah.
It sounds fascinating,
It
Thank you.
does.
Thank you.
to be truthful. I know I'd heard of Morocco, in through school and things like that, but never really a lot about it. But there was a TV show that I had tuned into that actually showed people, making connections, in romantic ways, but around the world. And a couple of them traveled over there to meet their person, and it was Morocco. And just the way, like the markets and things
Yes.
like, it's like,
Yeah.
this is intriguing. It's very intriguing.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of traveling with purpose. That means a lot versus
Absolutely.
just kind of landing wherever and seeing
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens. Like,
Yeah.
you're going for a reason,
Yeah.
and most likely you'll find what you're looking for.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I think my husband actually has a friend that when he went to high school from Morocco,
Oh wow.
because he said he fixed him some really delicious delicacy. I can't remember what
Yes.
it was.
The food is just incredible. It's really really diverse. The cuisine is it's really really good.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So
That
we're
sounds good.
we're starting to covertly pack right now. Like it's time for us to get out of this winter zone and enjoy some sunshine.
Well, since you touched on weather, I'm just curious, what is weather like in Morocco?
In Morocco, we do have four seasons throughout the country. We have, the mountains where it snows. In some areas, around October, November. Then we have, the ocean. We have two oceans. The Atlantic Ocean side, which the size of it, Morocco is pretty big on the map, or the globe. It's not really showing its true size, but the ocean is excuse me, expand the distance. If you look at it from New York to Florida, so it's pretty big size.
Oh, wow.
Then we
Okay.
have the Mediterranean, which is in the closer to, it's on the north side, closer to Europe. So those are the two oceans that we have, and then the desert, which is the largest desert in the world. It's just beyond incredible. Then diversity is just amazing. So right now, the temperature really varies. It's a little cold in the morning, kind of breezy, but then it gets a little bit more warm. I would say probably up 60s, low 70s. But then again, after sunset, it drops again. So you still need, like a light sweater or something at night or early morning for now. But then summertime, which is the hottest, July and August, which really, really gets really, really hot in most of the country. And that's why, it's like in the three digit most of the times. So
Oh, my
you really need,
goodness.
yeah. If, if you're traveling, you need to pack accordingly. Yes, for sure.
Yes. Is that like a? I would assume a dry heat versus it's not humid. It's a dry heat.
It is a dry heat for the most part. The
Okay.
coastal cities, they have a little bit of humidity. We also have humidity in Houston, but the one in Morocco, it's not as bad as in Houston. So a little bit of humidity, but like for example, Marrakech, it is a dry heat. So yeah.
Okay. And what would you say if somebody was to go and say, I want to have the most authentic meal I can have in Morocco? I'm sure there's, different regions that have their specialty, but in your opinion, what would you say is
Oh my goodness. That's a tough question. Because the choices, there are so many, and you're right.
uh
One of the couple of things that a lot of people are familiar with. Number one is tagine. Number two is couscous. Couscous, it's a dish that normally we eat on Fridays. Fridays, they are considered Muslim holidays, but a lot of people don't notice it. But there's after the midday prayer, which is sometimes it depending on the season, around 1:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m. or so. People gather, the family gathers at home. That's the main dish, which is couscous. And couscous can be prepared differently from house to house, neighbor to neighbor, city to city. And it can be, you can have chicken, you can have lamb, goat, beef, and it's prepared differently with different vegetables. The other dish is the tagine, and tagine also, it really, really varies. So my really favorite one, I would say, it's a roasted chicken, and it's served sometimes just the regular days, and sometimes in festivities and occasions. It's roasted chicken with preserved lemon, with green olives, and it's just, I can see it right now. It tastes really good.
That sounds good.
it
Oh, my
does.
goodness.
Yes.
Sign us up.
Sounds great.
Yes, it does. Wow. So I I am a person that really gets into sweets. So I
Oh
this is
my
just a
gosh.
question I have to ask. Is there a special sweet, I don't know, like a baked good or something like that that
Yes, yes. Um, the best city for sweets, in my opinion, I would say Fast. Then the second one I would say is Marrakesh, and I am from Marrakesh. um, right now is Ramadan for us, so we're fasting, and the best sweets are really made in Ramadan. So, and there's variety of them, and they're just, my goodness, they're really, really delicious. So there's so many to talk about, and I mean, it's really, really, really nice. So this is one of the best times. If you're traveling to Morocco during Ramadan, the sweets are definitely, you must taste them. You must, because your trip is not completed without them.
Okay. That's what we wanted to hear. Okay.
So even outside Ramadan, you can still see them. There are, little, we call them patisserie, which is little shops that sell them. And again, the Moroccan sweets, they are really influenced by, especially by European influence, and also by the French cuisine, because we were a French colony at some point. So you can see that flair, in the mid Morocco versus the north side of Morocco with the Spanish flair. It's really really amazing.
I love that. That it's
Hmm.
so diverse in
Yeah,
one country like that. I mean,
absolutely.
oh,
That's a treat. This
yeah.
discussion has been a treat thus far. It really
Thank you,
has.
thank you.
There is another question. In your opinion, where in Morocco can we experience the deepest nostalgia of the country? Like, what to you, in your opinion, is kind of like old school Morocco?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. That is an amazing question. You know, I want to give the listeners just some numbers, but then I'll answer your question. Morocco, at some point, tourism was not really a big deal. If we talk, especially in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, then it opened up, and tourism has become extremely important to the Moroccan economy. 2019 was the biggest year to date in terms of visitors to Morocco. We had 13 million visitors. And at that time, we used to have, busy season, slow season. Now, it closed for a couple of years, just like most of the countries. And then when it reopened, um, that season has vanished. Morocco has become busy year long, which is just incredible. Now, in 2023, no, actually in 2024, we did 14.7 million, which is the first time Morocco ranked number one in Africa, after Egypt. Egypt has always been number one, since the pharaohs. So
Yeah.
it's just Egypt is just amazing. So 2024 was incredible. 2025 was even better. We did 19.8 million. Again, for the second year in a row, we ranked number one destination in Africa. And again, when you look at the US market, the Canadian market, it's still unknown, even with those incredible numbers. To go back to your question, the oldest city in Morocco is Fas. I get a lot of questions say, hey, if I have one day in Morocco and I need to spend that one day, where should I go? I always say Fas. And for your question, I would say Fas. The reason is because with all these numbers, you can see that, it has developed quite a bit, grown in a little bit as well. But then with that growth comes changes, and sometimes it really affects the culture of the city. And sometimes when it expands too much, it loses its authenticity, if you would. So
Hmm.
Fast is still holding to that old tradition, if you would. So if you want to see Morocco the way that it was 100 years ago, definitely go to Fast. Definitely go to the Medina. The Medina, Fes Medina is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has over 9,000 streets, so I guarantee you will get lost.
Oh, that's not. I don't need to hear that because that would happen.
No,
Oh,
anybody that goes into the Medina, they have to have a local guide. So that's why, So yeah, I mean, it's just beyond incredible. So definitely Fes is the place to visit, because it will definitely take you to, through time. Because Fes, when you look at it, there's a place when you stand. It's one of the gates. They have the north gate and the south gate, and you can see Fes in three different parts. The ninth century Fes, then the 14th century Fes, then the 20th century Fes, and it's just beyond incredible. So definitely go to Fes first.
Oh, so be honest, Azdean. Do we need more than a day in fast?
In Fes, okay, you can spend 2 months in Fes and not
Okay.
and not saying the same thing twice.
Oh, that is fantastic.
that does sound lovely.
Oh,
Wow.
love it.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So, as far as podcasting,
Yes.
are you comfortable in the fact that podcasting is now heading in the direction it's going, especially for like what you actually do as far as helping people travel? Do you feel like it's really conducive in business and like it feels like such a positive step?
Oh, that's amazing question. 100%. 100%. I get thank you messages, DMs from all over, just saying thank you, you really helped me, or and say, hey, I went to Morocco a long time ago and I traveled and it was a bad experience, and now I feel like it's time for me to go back. And
Oh,
so many
that.
positive feedbacks. Yes, and again, because nowadays everything, especially with artificial intelligence, everything is at the fingertips.
Yes.
But then finding the truth is really difficult and challenging because of all those technologies. So finding something that it's authentic, true, and it's honest is very difficult. So the podcast definitely helps. Um, it helped us. We made friends everywhere. Now it's like, you're in Midwest, I'm in Houston. So if you come into Houston, my house is your house. So
Oh,
so I mean, I have made friends everywhere, in Africa,
Yes.
in Europe, Australia, everywhere, because of the podcast. And I was super fortunate to be on so many podcasts in so many different places. It does open a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. So yes, podcasting is definitely super important to any business to have it, as an addition. Yeah, 100%. Yes,
Yeah, we highly agree. Yes, it surely
absolutely.
opens doors.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
okay, this is one thing that we would like to ask you.
Oh, sure.
As far as, I'm not sure how often you are partaking in the daily news feeds, especially regarding travel. And again, this does kind of dip its foot back into the pool of nostalgia. Have you heard the whole thing about them wanting to do the manners, getting people to be polite on the planes and kind of trying to enforce that? Do you have any opinion on the success of that, if you've heard of that?
I actually haven't,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, it was, I guess, kind of assumed that they could make people say please and thank you to their flight attendants,
Oh,
to the captain. Mm,
Common sense stuff. Come
yeah,
on
yeah,
now.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
it's like, well, that's great. Common sense is a great thing to have, but at the same time, how do you enforce it in the climate that we have? It's like, it's an interesting thought, but just curious, what do you think? Do you think that's kind of they're going down a road that's not going to be very successful for
I
them?
don't think it's going to be successful because that's something that it has to come from within willingly.
Yes.
It's part of you. I mean, if you say, please and thank you to anybody, getting on a plane is no different. You'll say that to everybody else. But then somebody making you, it's just like, coming into your own, your personal space. So, and again, depending on how they say it, but I think you're probably not going to work.
Yeah, like we were really, I mean, because we do love traveling. We love it. We don't get to do it as much as we did in the past, but we do enjoy it. But we just find ourselves shaking our heads most of the time,
All the time.
which
Yeah.
still stems back to you talking about traveling with purpose. It's
Yes.
like going for a reason. Otherwise, people might be like, I'm just done. I
Yeah.
don't even want
Yeah.
to deal with this anymore. So.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah.
Well, is there anything you would like to share that we haven't touched on that would really drive the point home for someone who's either looking just for interesting things to know about any particular place in Morocco, or just the best way to even get in touch with you if
Oh, sure, sure.
something they'd like
Absolutely.
to do?
I would say the best thing I would say just to listen to the podcast anywhere they get their podcast, and it's everywhere. Destination Morocco podcast. Then you'll have our contact information if they are interested, because it's going to help tremendously. If even if you're not traveling and you want to know about the country, we have so many episodes that we talk about the Amazigh people, the indigenous people of Morocco,
Okay.
the origins, history, culture, different cities, itineraries, packing, tips, scams. It's a very diverse content. Even if they are not traveling to Morocco, that's still a really good place to get a lot of really good information. Then if they are traveling, I highly recommend it, because there's really nothing else like it. We're not biased. We just say things the way they are, and you know, and sometimes people get offended, but most people they say, hey, we really appreciate you being honest. So, and that's really important. So,
Yeah. That means a lot. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
And like you said, providing just about anything someone would want just
Yeah.
visiting Destinations Morocco's podcast, then they get a sense of you as well. I was curious, do you travel with your clients, or is that something you just will help book them and they go and then they meet a person over there to help them get around?
Most of the time, I plan everything for them. From A to Z, from the moment they get to Morocco until they depart Morocco, and during their trip, obviously I stay with them. They have access to me 24/7. Then they have access to the team in Morocco as well. If it's a group, then I go with them if when I can, because groups are a little bit different. So
Okay.
last November, late November and December, I went with a group, and they were 21 plus us, so it was about 30 people in the group. And
Wow.
because that size, you really need all hands on deck, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and we wanted to make sure that everything is well taken care of and stuff. So if it's a small group, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. But if it's a mid-sized group, then I really have to. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're in good hands. You heard it here. You're in good hands with Azdean. He'll take
Thank
good
you.
care of you either way. Either way.
That's right. And check out his podcast on a weekly basis, The Destination Morocco. Well, they'll welcome you in with open arms. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for chatting with us this week, Asdeen. We are so honored that you took time out of your schedule today to speak
Thank
with
you.
us because travel, hey, we're all in the same camp. That is something to really, really enjoy and gloat over.
Thank you so much, Kennedy and Cooper. I'm very grateful. The privilege is all mine. Trust me. I waited for this episode for a long time. I was like, okay, it's coming, it's
Oh.
coming, it's coming. So,
Oh,
so
you
when I
made
when I
our
listened, oh yes, when I listened to your episode, it's just like, oh my god, I feel like because I got to Houston in '95. So, you know,
Okay.
I, it's just everything you're talking about is like, oh my god, this is like it feels so good. I love it. I love it. Amazing. Yes.
Oh, you're too sweet. We love
Thank you.
it too.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it for this week's episode, but there's much more where that came from. Many thanks to our friend Azdean Elmoustaquim for that amazing Moroccan tour. Hit that subscribe button and visit the Retro Orchard weekly for a sweeter nostalgic experience. Carmel catch you on the other side.